My dad tried to force me to apologize to my golden child sister. I agreed, then quietly resigned from the family company overnight. The lawyer panicked, my sister went white, and my dad finally realized what he'd lost. So, I, 29M, just nuked my entire professional life as my family knew it. And I regret nothing. For context, I've worked at my family's company since I was 20. Straight out of undergrad, I took an entry-level role while most of my friends chased corporate ladders and startup dreams. I genuinely believed in the mission of the company. It was small back then, barely 30 employees, and I wanted to help build something real. And yeah, I thought working for my dad would mean I'd be recognized for loyalty and hard work. I was wrong, because this company wasn't a company, it was a shrine to my older sister. Madison, 31F, has always been the golden child. She's not evil, just entitled. She was praised for mediocrity growing up, while I had to fight to be noticed. That dynamic followed us into the office like a damn storm cloud. I started in operations. I learned the business from the ground up. Supply chain, logistics, contracts, client relationships. I earned every deal I closed. I built entire process systems that we still use today. I led the overhaul of our CRM that cut errors in half. I was the first to show up, the last to leave. No recognition. Meanwhile, Madison waltzed in a year after me, immediately handed a management title, a team, and a corner office. She had zero experience, but she had an MBA, paid for by our dad, and apparently that was enough. At first I tried not to care. I stayed in my lane, let my results speak, but Madison couldn't even spell her own metrics. She'd constantly forward urgent client issues to me. I'd fix them, she'd take the credit, rinse and repeat. And the worst part? My dad saw it all and let it slide. Don't make waves, my mom would say. You know how he is with her. So I stayed silent. Until 2 months ago. We were up for a huge renewal. One of our largest clients, 7 figures annually. I'd nurtured that account for 5 years, but Madison insisted she could own this one to prove she could lead deals. Against my better judgment and my team's, I backed off. She missed 2 out of 3 meetings, completely misread the RFP, sent in a proposal that didn't even match the client's request. They pulled out without so much as a final call. $1.2 million in revenue. Gone. Just like that. I thought that would finally be the wake-up call. Instead, I get called into my dad's office. Madison is sitting there, all pouty and fake crying, going on about how she felt unsupported and was misled by the data my team provided. Let me be clear, I never even saw her final proposal. And she knew that. I turned to my dad waiting for him to finally back me. Instead, he says, "Can't you just apologize to your sister? We need to maintain unity. You two fighting is bad for morale." I laughed. Actually laughed. I looked at him, then her, and said, "You want me to apologize for her losing $1 million account?" He leaned back and said, "This isn't about blame. It's about harmony. Just apologize and let's move on." I didn't respond. I just nodded slowly and said, "Okay, I'll apologize." Then I walked out and never came back, not to work anyway. That night, I sat down and drafted my plan. I wasn't going to just resign. I was going to make sure every unspoken slight, every ignored violation, every buried red flag came into the light. I reached out to an employment lawyer I knew from a past networking event. We talked for hours. He was floored by the amount of documentation I had. Screenshots, emails, voicemails, HR reports, ignored complaints. 9 years of silent endurance, now weaponized. I spent the next week wrapping things up. Quietly, I accepted an offer from a competitor in the same sector, a company that had tried to poach me twice before. Better salary, stock options, full autonomy. Then, on a Thursday morning, I sent my resignation. I didn't just email my dad, I CC'd the full board, senior leadership, HR, and, this was important, our 10 largest clients. Attached were 4 files, a formal resignation letter outlining systemic favoritism, contract violations, and nepotism. A 42-page PDF documenting every instance of unpaid overtime, unfulfilled performance bonuses, and internal policy breaches. Screenshots of emails showing Madison dumping work on my team, misrepresenting deals, and asking me to clean things up like usual. A personal statement from one of my direct reports who'd resigned last year due to harassment that HR never addressed because it involved Madison's team. The email was polite, professional, nuclear. The fallout was immediate. My phone rang nonstop. The family lawyer, who's basically a pit bull in a suit, left me 5 voicemails in 2 hours. HR sent a request for an exit interview that I forwarded straight to my attorney. One of the board members, who had always been friendly with me, called to say he had no idea things had gotten so bad. But the best part? Madison. I'm told she went white when she saw the attachments. Apparently she locked herself in her office for the day. Later I heard she tried to call me but couldn't get through. Yeah, no kidding. I blocked her. My dad? Didn't say a word, not one. He didn't call, didn't email, didn't respond to the resignation. I guess he thought if he ignored it, it would go away. I packed up my stuff that weekend with a security escort, at HR's request, not mine. They were terrified I'd leak even more. I didn't, not yet, but I walked out without looking back. New job starts Monday, and let me tell you something, it feels damn good to finally stop apologizing for other people's incompetence. Update 1. The backlash started before I'd even had coffee. I woke up to 14 missed calls from my dad. No texts, no, hey, can we talk? Just a barrage of voicemails, angry, rambling, desperate. Like he thought screaming into my inbox could somehow reset everything I'd already set in motion. You had no right to blindside us like this. This is betrayal, OP. Absolute betrayal. Then another an hour later. Do you know what this is doing to your sister? She's in tears. You've ruined her reputation. Reputation, that was rich. Her reputation never seemed to matter when she was missing deadlines, ghosting meetings, losing clients, and sending me panicked 2 a.m. texts to fix something she broke. But now that I'm gone, suddenly it's sacred. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. I'd already said everything in the resignation letter. My inbox was clean, my calendar was cleared, and my conscience was finally quiet. Attached to that letter was a neat little folder full of documentation. Every HR complaint I filed and watched disappear. Every email where Madison dumped work on me. Every time I picked up the slack so she could leave early for networking drinks. The truth in writing. Around noon, I got a message from a former colleague. Holy hell, the office is a war zone. HR is scrambling. Nobody knows who's handling your accounts. Madison hasn't come out of her office. Apparently she tried to run point on a major client call. She didn't even make it 5 minutes in. The exec asked where I was. She said I was no longer with the company. He said, then we're done, and hung up. That client was worth nearly $800,000 a year. By the end of the week, 2 more pulled out. One sent a cold but professional note to the board citing concerns about transparency and leadership integrity. Translation: we see the rot, and we're not sticking around to watch the ship sink. Inside the office, the unraveling picked up speed. Devin from Dev left. He'd been there 8 years, one of the smartest, quietest guys on the team. Then Sarah from marketing, then Jerome from PM. They weren't loud about it, no drama, just resignation emails and clean exits. Every one of them messaged me afterward. I stayed because of you. You made the place bearable. Glad someone finally had the spine to walk. Some of them attached screenshots of their resignation emails. A few CC'd board members. One even mentioned the HR folder I had compiled. Once I saw what you sent, I realized how bad it really was. Meanwhile, Madison was falling apart. Someone sent me a photo of her crying in the break room. Full meltdown. Apparently, she tried to lead an internal strategy sync, her first real attempt at leadership since I left, and froze halfway through the agenda. Couldn't answer questions, blamed internal disorganization. Half the room walked out. Another colleague sent me this. She's claiming you sabotaged her, says you've been planning this for months, that you're out for revenge. I didn't reply, let her talk. For once, no one was jumping in to cover for her. No one was softening the blow or explaining away her incompetence. The blindfold was off. Then came the guilt campaign. My mom started with the gentle stuff. Your dad isn't sleeping. Madison's a mess. We're all hurting. Then came the veiled pressure. You've made your point. It's time to stop this. You don't want to ruin the family over a job. A job? Is that what they thought this was about? 10 years of loyalty? 10 years of being overlooked, overworked, undercredited? 10 years of being the fixer, the fall guy, the silent support system while Madison was applauded for surviving her own incompetence. And I was supposed to just keep doing it because we share a last name? I ignored the first few voicemails, let them pile up. Then I picked up. She didn't ask if I was okay, didn't ask what happened. Just launched into 5 straight minutes of why I was being unreasonable and emotional. I listened. When she was done, I said, "I made peace, just not the way you expected." Then I hung up. Later that week, I heard the family lawyer tried to step in. He called one of the board members I'd CC'd on my resignation and tried to clarify the situation, asked if my departure could be framed differently, tried to downplay the HR documentation, but the board wasn't buying it. The receipts were too thorough, and now the board wanted answers about why complaints were buried and why Madison kept getting promoted despite consistent failure. The part that really made me laugh? Apparently, someone on the board asked my dad point blank, "Why did you keep putting your son in positions to carry all the weight without giving him the authority to make decisions?" And all my dad could say was, "He never asked for more." Because of course. In his mind, if I didn't demand a title, then I didn't deserve one, even if I was doing the work of 3 people and cleaning up after his daughter daily. Meanwhile, I was settling into my new job. Day 1, my manager introduced me with, "This is the guy who's going to clean up what our last agency botched. He's the one you come to if you want answers." I got a full onboarding plan, clear KPIs, a project tracker, weekly one-on-ones, budget authority, direct access to leadership. It felt unreal. No fire drills, no late-night panics, no babysitting a grown woman who couldn't spell CRM, just actual work, actual support, actual professionalism. I started sleeping again, not that half-conscious, dread-soaked haze I lived in for the last few years. Real sleep. My phone stopped buzzing after 6 p.m. Weekends were mine again, and for the first time in a decade, I felt like I had a future. I haven't answered a single call from my dad since I left. He tried, a few angry ones, a few sad ones. Then came the "let's talk this out" attempts. I ignored them all. He thought I wouldn't walk. He thought I needed them. Turns out, they needed me a lot more. Final update. About 3 weeks after everything blew up, my dad emailed me out of nowhere. No greeting, no explanation. Just a single sentence. "We need to talk, in person." He included a calendar invite for a meeting at a neutral downtown office, not the family company, not his regular lawyer, a third-party conference room. That told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't a heart-to-heart. This was damage control dressed up as concern. I forwarded it to my lawyer. He took one look and said, "They're not trying to talk. They're trying to contain liability. You're not going alone." So we went. When I walked into the conference room, my dad was already there, pacing, hair disheveled, tie loosened like he'd put it on just to yank it off again. He didn't greet me, didn't ask how I was, didn't even attempt small talk. He just sat down across from me with a folder full of papers he clearly didn't want to be holding. My lawyer sat beside me, calm, silent, unbothered. I didn't say anything first. I wasn't there to comfort him or absorb the impact of his crisis. My dad started talking. "This has gone too far. You've caused a mess. Clients are furious. The board is in chaos. And your sister..." He stopped himself, pressed his fingers into his temples, and sighed. "Madison is on leave. HR had no choice." I didn't respond. I didn't rush to fill the silence like I used to. I just sat there and let him hear his own words bounce back at him for once. He continued, voice tight. "The board initiated a full audit, financial, operational, compliance." Another pause. "They found things. I already knew they would. Madison wasn't just incompetent, she was reckless. And the buried internal audit I'd kept copy of, the one she'd begged me to ignore because it made her look bad? Yeah, that audit flagged almost every issue the board was now uncovering. My dad tried to skip past that part, like he could downplay it. There were discrepancies in her expense reports, misallocated project funds, unauthorized bonuses. Nothing criminal yet, but enough to trigger a serious problem. Still, I didn't react. Every time in the past I reacted, softened, mediated. Not this time. He finally looked directly at me. "We can fix this, but we need you to help stabilize things." There it was. Not "I'm sorry," not "I was wrong," not "you didn't deserve any of this." Just a request? No, an expectation that I swoop in and rescue them because Madison had detonated one too many bombs, and this time I wasn't there to throw myself on top of the blast. I said nothing, My lawyer cleared his throat. What exactly are you asking my client to do? My dad exhaled sharply. We want him to return to the company, temporarily, help rebuild trust with clients, serve as an advisor while we restructure. I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, but because the audacity was so surreal it looped into comedy. Before I could respond, the door opened. Madison walked in, or rather, she stumbled in. She looked like she hadn't slept in days, red eyes, shaky hands, makeup smudged, like she'd tried to hide a breakdown and failed. She shut the door behind her and leaned against it as if she needed the physical support. Please, she said. No hello. No acknowledgement of my lawyer. Just, please, don't do this. She sat across from me, hands clasped like a nervous kid in the principal's office. I know things look bad. I know the audit. Her voice cracked and she swallowed hard. I know I messed up, but I need you to tell them I didn't steal anything. Another shaky breath. Please. I didn't think it would go this far. I let her talk. She wasn't apologizing. She wasn't taking responsibility. She wasn't being honest. She was begging me to protect her from consequences she had earned 10 times over. I looked at my dad. He avoided my eyes. Typical. My lawyer asked, "Why is she here?" Which was hilarious because clearly even he couldn't believe the attempt. She wanted to speak, my dad muttered. I turned to her. You forced me to bury that audit. Her face drained. I didn't force you. You told me the board would tear you apart, I said. You cried, said you made a mistake, said you'd fix it. I kept my voice calm. You never fixed it. You doubled down. Silence. Dead thick silence. My dad finally muttered, "We can handle the audit results internally. We just need the board to take a step back. If you support us." No, I said. Just that. One word. But the weight in the room shifted instantly. My dad blinked like he didn't understand the concept. What do you mean? No. I'm not coming back. I'm not cleaning up anything. And I'm not protecting either of you. He stared at me, stunned, as if the idea that I had a spine was brand new information. My lawyer slid a folder across the table. My client has no further obligations to your family or your business. He has cooperated fully with all legal requirements. He will not be returning. My dad didn't take the folder. He didn't need to. Even from across the table, he could see what was inside. The second copy of the audit, the one with signatures, the one that proved this wasn't me getting emotional. This was structural failure they chose to ignore. Madison whispered, "You're really doing this?" I looked at her steadily. "I didn't do anything to you. I just stopped protecting you." She flinched harder at that than anything else. My dad leaned back, defeated. The room went quiet except for the air vent humming overhead. For the first time in my life, I saw him look small, like a man who finally realized the shield he'd used for 10 years just walked out the door. We got up to leave. As we were walking out, one of the board members walked into the lobby. She nodded at me, then said to my dad, "The committee vote is at 3. I assume you've prepared your statement." He didn't respond. 2 days later, it hit the papers. My dad stepped down to focus on family matters. Madison was placed on indefinite leave pending further review. A restructuring plan was launched, and from what former co-workers have told me, the board is aggressively repairing the damage. A week after that, I got a formal email from the board chair. Not my dad, not Madison, the board. They thanked me for my contributions, acknowledged the issues I raised, and offered me a leadership position. Not as a favor, not as a pity promotion, as a genuine offer. I declined. I didn't owe them my future just because I gave them my past. I wrote back, "I wish the company success, but my life is finally my own." And that was it. There's no dramatic reconciliation, no tearful family dinner, no last-minute change of heart. My dad chose Madison for a decade. Madison chose entitlement every single time. I finally chose myself. Turns out losing me cost more than they ever imagined.